All right, so what he was saying there was a build up.
We had a little bit of technical issue, so what we're going to do is we're going to circle back for a second. We're down here at Clubhouse. We're giving away a Josh Allen jersey. We were in the middle of talking about where Bryce Young and Andy Dalton's futures were. So we'll pick back up. Go ahead, Kalen.
So you were talking about bringing about Bryce Young's confidence, and I was saying how there are 53 men on the field. There's another 20 in the practice facility. Then you got another 30 coaches, 40 coaches, whatever it may be. I think it's more about if we can get confidence to anybody on this team and then allow that confidence to ooze through the building, I think that maybe we can pick Bryce Young back up again, right? But it's not any different than if a wide receiver is not getting the ball, and they haven't been in Carolina, well, they're not going to be happy.
There were some expensive receivers that finally did get the ball. It's like Deontay Johnson had like 7 catches for 145 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
So now, and like I know what you're saying, and I know what Chad's saying, like eventually they're going to go back to Bryce Young because they have too much invested in him. You also have quite a bit of money invested into these receivers like Thielen, who I know is banged up now, and Deontay Johnson and some of these younger picks that look like they actually knew how to play the football. So now that you're there and you're the owner, do you even let them go back?
I don't think he comes back this year, to be honest.
Yeah.
Unless they start losing again, and Andy is the reason why that's happening. But if Andy goes out there and they go 7-10. Well, that's 7 games they were not going to win with Bryce Young.
Right.
They're not winning 7 games.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it was a fun story for Dalton. He's got his Bengals this weekend. He might even perform a little bit there too. But I mean, guys,
the season has been all about redemption stories.
Yeah. The Red Rocket is not carrying Carolina to 7 wins this year, I don't think. I think we're already in a race to the first round pick or first overall pick here between Tennessee and Carolina.
Oh boy, you guys are getting the first overall pick now, eh?
I think between those two teams. I look at their offensive line performance as a whole, and both have been shit. They've both been absolutely horrendous. The other crappy thing for both of our teams, I'm way skipping ahead here, but this is a horrible year to be a first overall pick, like to have it. Even the second overall pick, there's nothing there outside of a couple of good tackles, which is certainly what Carolina needs. But
you're telling me Tennessee doesn't take Quinn Ayers?
So
I mean, like, this is a real question.
I love Quinn, and I said 2 weeks ago I'm cool with like the Titans being shit because bring on Quinn, right? Quinn Ewers is an injury risk waiting to happen in the NFL. That's what it comes down to. Unfortunately, he doesn't play aggressive. He doesn't play.
Quinn, I hope you're not listening.
Well,
listen. This guy's wearing a Texas hat. Just said that.
Yeah. But like realistically, this guy is a pocket quarterback. He can get out and move the pocket if he needs to, but he doesn't take risks to get hit, and yet he somehow is hurt all the time.
Right.
Even like this most recent injury, the oblique injury, like it was a pretty much non-contact injury that created this problem, and we're praying that he's back in time for the friggin' Sooners game, right? Like he's not even playing good competition yet outside of Michigan and getting hurt.
I think it's fair to, and we're not going to make this the Texas Longhorn show, but I think it's fair to say that Arch Manning's better than Quinn Ewers. And
hey, he came back to earth this weekend though, in the first half.
Well,
his second half was much better, but that first half he came right back to earth.
These types of things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Overall, the guy ran faster than Tyreek Hill.
As fast. He didn't break Tyreek's, but hey, listen, I'll give it to him because he's a QB. I'll let him have that record.
We got to take one for our team here.
Yeah, yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big win for us.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so Carolina, I think
you got it.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
But Carolina, I think, does stick with Bryce, as we said earlier. They do have the wide, and you can't go out and really pay a vet because, unfortunately, you got your money wrapped up in some. Like you're trying to be that team that's taking advantage of that rookie contract, and you can't really do that. Again, who wants to go and play in Carolina right now? Like between the owner and the organization, and just the way the franchise is.
I don't think anybody wants to play in Carolina. I don't think anybody wants to. No one wanted to coach there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I loved their head coach as Tampa Bay's offensive coordinator, but at the end of the day, he was the only guy dumb enough to take that job.
Well, and overall, like if you're gonna take it, then you gotta run with it. I don't think that he's a bad coach, but I did go on record in week 1 saying that there's far more bad coaches than bad quarterbacks out there, and if he can't find a way to scheme up a guy that basically lit the world on fire at Alabama, You're telling me you couldn't make a phone call to Sark, who is obviously like the best OC that he had, or Nick Saban to be like, how did you guys pull it out of him? Like, there's no way that you can just die on your own offense and say this is what it is.
What's crazy too is at the time that he was at Alabama, like they're known for like three, but like we know them for linebackers and offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Like that's really what Alabama's all about. I mean, they're great through and through, but like, those are the
couple receivers.
Yeah, they sent like 8 straight receivers in the first round.
Yeah. But this is lately. But I mean, in the history of Alabama, it's linebackers and linemen. And that year, the year that Bryce was there, arguably the worst offensive line production they had too. I've been diving into this and thinking like, because I see when as soon as he got named as soon as Andy Dalton got named the starter, there was people commenting about, they did Bryce no favors. They didn't surround him with what he needed to be surrounded with, which I think is not necessarily true. I mean, they definitely, Hayden Hurst he certainly played well at the team that he was at prior to coming to Carolina.
Right.
And then Deontay Johnson, an investment there. Did they give up Brian Burns? Yeah, but that doesn't help Bryce Young necessarily. Did they give up DJ Moore? Yeah, but they needed to in order to make it happen, right?
Well,
they
Johnson,
DJ Moore to get Bryce Young. Like, that was the trade.
Yeah, I mean, Deontay Johnson can replace like DJ Moore.
Yeah, I think in a vacuum, you're right. Deontay Johnson's a better route runner than DJ Moore. I think DJ just stretches the field a little bit more successfully when given the opportunity. But I don't think that they haven't done him a disservice, but they certainly... Can you name one lineman on their team? Not the defensive line, but because they had a Pro Bowler that got injured this year. But
I don't name a lot of linemen on other people's teams either.
But every team's got like that anchor on their line, whether it be a center or a left tackle. You can probably name across the board some players on their teams, or on most teams. But this team, you haven't been able to name an offensive lineman in years. I think the last one they had was when Andrew Norwell left their team, I think, to go to the Jags, and then he's with the Giants now, I think. But like that's like the last time they had a good offensive lineman. We're talking 8 years ago.
I'm going to take your word for that because I've never heard of that man.
Yeah. So, all right. We don't want to waste any time talking about Carolina. But we do want to get a pulse check on Titans Nation because Will Levis he has not won a game since his sex tape dropped and since that girl left him. So I'm starting to see like a pattern here that maybe
she left him after the draft.
She came back around.
That thing dropped. His phone got hacked. Someone's phone got hacked, and some things got out there that the world was not supposed to see. And since then, all he's done is turn the ball over.
I think Will Levis is doing what he did or tried to do at Kentucky, and that's play a little bit too much hero ball. And he's on an incredible run right now with pictures that are coming out of every
he's getting memed every week.
Every week, even this week when he got jacked up by the two players when he tried to run for it on fourth down and got picked up out of the air and hit. Just a generational run when it comes to memes. But the kid's got moxie. He's got the arm strength. He even this week he still
does. What they said about Jamarcus Russell.
I don't know if he was ever referred to as the moxie, but even this week, little things that you want to see your quarterback learn, right? So the media celebrates the fact that he doesn't try to force the passes or try those flick shovel passes that have caused fumbles, but then he goes and runs for it in the third quarter and puts his head down and charges between two defenders standing right at him. You're not getting the first down. You're not breaking that tackle between the linebacker and the corner that's standing you up, right? Why don't you learn to slide? We've been saying this.
What down was it?
This is only second down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not even going for it on third down or fourth down. It was second down, just puts his shoulders down, and there's a time and a place. But, buddy, you lead the league in turnovers right now between fumbles and interceptions, and I want to say this very lightly. You are an injury away from Mason Rudolph coming in and proving to the rest of the Titans fans why he should be starting.
Well, there's too much offensive talent to turn the ball over 5-6 times a game.
DeAndre is not the same player this year. I have watched.
Boy, you were just off the bandwagon.
Well, hey, listen, he's coming.
Can the New Jersey Devils season start soon enough?
Oh my God, can
Football's over.
No, I didn't expect the MCL. I didn't expect him to be explosive off the rip. 5 weeks out from the injury, right? But it just seems like there isn't. He doesn't have the mobility there, unfortunately, right now. Now, here's what I will say: he is the first person to be at Will Levis's side whenever there's a problem that happens. He's the first guy to go and tap him on the helmet or to talk to him as he's walking to the sideline. And I will take those intangibles right now. I certainly need that on my team and what's happening.
My God, I wouldn't even say that's fishing for the minor victory. That's like the moral win. You're looking for a participation.
Like, that just sounds so much desperation. In
We
your
haven't been
voice.
0-3 since 2003, and I haven't seen the coaching disarray on offense since Ken fucking Wisenhunt.
And
pal.
this is who you wanted.
I did want him. I did want Billy Callahan. I wanted his dad. I didn't think his dad was going to turn the offensive line, who's the youngest in the NFL, by the way. The oldest is only 26 years old. But I didn't think that they were going to turn into Hall of Famers overnight. I know that this is a growing pains and process thing, but I haven't seen a schemed open wide receiver since the second week of preseason. I haven't seen a successful screenplay since the second week of preseason.
Well, this guy just came from a team that had Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow.
Couple weapons.
Yeah.
Will Levis is not Joe Burrow.
No, I think and that's the thing. This is what's really annoying is that the preseason they ran a completely different offense.
Yep.
There was a lot of what we saw in Tennessee for years, actually, which was the smashing or the A.J. Brown over the middle off of play action, get it 10 yards down the field, and let your receivers run after with the ball. With Calvin Ridley is usually pretty good at. He's pretty good at stretching the field, and once the ball's in his hands, he can go somewhere. DeAndre's never been a rack guy, but they did this in the preseason, and I haven't seen that at all. I don't think that Will Levis has been a gunslinger since college. He's aired the ball out since college. Like, he throws it downfield more than anybody I can think of. Like, even right now, I mean, we knock on the guy, but he's got more touchdowns than C.J. Stroud.
Yeah,
he's got a higher completion percentage than Anthony Richardson, right? Like,
it's like,
I'm just saying, man.
Does he have more rushing yards than Daniel Jones? Like, these are not good stats to have. He also has 3 interceptions a game, and he is single-handed. He is single-handedly the reason that you guys lost to Chicago. Single-handedly.
Yeah, and him and Jeffrey Simmons. You're going to hear me harp on Jeffrey Simmons right now, too.
Jeez.
You know that I love me some Big Jeffy.
Do we need to help pick you a new team?
No. But Big Jeff on back-to-back weeks has taken a stupid penalty against the Jets, was the one he did, and then this week here against the Packers where it's a stupid penalty that extends the drive and ended up in a touchdown.
I mean, I think it's safe to say that'll be the last time we talk about Tennessee on the show because they're going to be irrelevant for, until you said next year's Super Bowl or bust. So until next year.
I said the takeoff year is next year.
Right, sorry, that's what I meant to say. But yeah, 0-3. No team has ever started 0-3 and won the Super Bowl. In fact, only one team has ever started 0-3 and made the playoffs. So I think Tennessee is the second team we've buried. Carolina's already buried, and the Raiders have next week, and they might get buried. So we're already eliminating teams from contention, which is nice. But there was lots of great football going on. You know, the Dallas Cowboys suck.
They're so bad.
The Cleveland Browns suck.
I have a question for you, though.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys. Did Jerry get forced to sign Dak? 'Cause I don't think Jerry wanted to sign Dak. And like the fans kind of made it happen.
Yeah.
And I think now the fans are regretting what they did.
Well, based on what Kalen's saying, like Dak had the highest fantasy points, so we should basically like anoint him MVP. I would say the Cowboys team that we saw against the Browns, everybody, like I will say, even to Cowboys fans, they did not say like this is our year, but they did think that they had a good team. But back-to-back games, and even if you go back to like the Packers playoff game, like I don't know who's waving at. Green Bay ran all over them, New Orleans ran all over them, and Baltimore threw the ball 13 times and ran all over them.
In the fourth quarter, threw the ball 13 times. He had 12 attempts in the fourth quarter alone.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm checking right now.
Yeah, he did not throw the ball. Lamar Jackson did not throw the ball 12 times in the fourth quarter.
It was literally just. I'm pretty sure that one of the players like tweeted that out from Detroit, from Dallas. Said somehow that we only let him throw.
Lamar Jackson went 12 for 15. So that means if he threw the ball 13 times in the fourth quarter,
correct.
He threw it twice before that.
Correct.
Maybe it happened. How many attempts did Henry have?
25. And Lamar had 14. So I'm going to just come out and say right now, if that's the strategy they're rolling with, they might need another quarterback on that roster really soon.
So I don't think that that's Baltimore's new strategy. I think that's just everybody getting together being like, hey, they can't stop that. Just do that again. And it's what I told you it was going to happen to, who was it? To the Jets. Or sorry, to Cincinnati last week when they played Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes throws for 120 yards. I was in the building. Patrick Mahomes throws for 120 yards, and yet they still win. Granted, I will tell you that was the worst pass interference call
I don't know, man.
ever. Last night it didn't get called, so it doesn't count. But last night, just shows there is no such thing as the officials not wanting Kansas City to win the game. I don't know if you guys watched the full game last night, but what a joke.
Yeah, and what made it even worse was that, there's the joke about wearing white gloves on white jerseys. That was a black jersey that Kyle Pitts is wearing, and the guy was wearing yellow fucking gloves with white spandex sleeves.
Oh, yeah.
It was the most obvious thing that you could have seen.
Couldn't have been worse.
From 20 yards away, you could have called that pass interference. I'm sick. What? I hate the whole it's the fourth quarter. I'm a little more lax and a little more lenient in the fourth quarter. That's bullshit. That was terrible.
I told you, I was in the building. I watched that 4th and 16 play where the guy basically brushed against him. They realized the ball hit the ground, and then the ref threw it. And that was week 2. And then, obviously yesterday happened. I get it. You got to protect Kansas City's the biggest draw right now in football outside of real fan bases, right? Because of the Swift effect and because everybody knows who these guys are. They've won back-to-back Super Bowls. It doesn't even take a sports fan to watch that.
Do you think the Patriots or the Chiefs would be more hated? Because that 2000 Patriots team was pretty hated.
So
and then that late 2010 team was even
just a
worse.
general question. Who's the most hated team, do you think, in the NFL?
Dallas Cowboys.
I was just going to... It's so funny how they're the most popular and yet the most hated all at the same time, right?
Their own fans hate them half the time.
Yeah.
It would be tough to be a Cowboys fan. But yeah, Kansas City, they get the win. They go to 3-0. Not new territory for them at all, but I don't think that they are the same Chiefs team that they were last year. They might get there.
They are really missing Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah.
That the guy with the long hair, cool story, bro, but
yeah,
there's a
with
reason.
a crocodile?
Yeah, Isaiah Pacheco is an angry-ass runner.
Yeah.
He moves chains. He makes people miss. And he's fast as fuck.
Yeah.
The guy they have in there right now does none of those things.
Yeah, they're going to have a hard time without him. And, it seems like he's going to be 8 weeks, so obviously he'll come back when it's playoff time. Samaje Perine is not going to cut it either.
No. Well, that's right. Hunt's coming back. He's got the
He's old now, though.
But he still does what they need him to do. He's not going to be asked to carry it 150 times even this season. So he'll do just enough for what they want. And he's a great pass blocker, too.
Yeah.
He really can give you, and Pacheco gives you that, too. I don't know if you saw it or not, but Dylan Raiola, because we're on the Chiefs topic.
Yeah.
So his brother committed to Nebraska.
Should.
His brother looks just like Jackson Mahomes, bro. I have no idea where this family came from, but when Dylan looks like Pat, and then Dayton is his brother's name, Dayton looks just like Jackson.
His dad did play for the Mets.
So maybe.
And there was a little bit of traveling going on. I was just saying I'm not trying to put the Raiola family on blast here, but Mrs. Raiola might go to the Mets bars back in the early to late 2000s. So it's nice to see that the Browns are staying consistent and sucking. And the Justin Herbert led Chargers. I got to tell you, I think Jim Harbaugh is a loser, and I always thought he was a loser when he was at Michigan. The fact that they let Herbert play in that game, he should be fired on the spot for that. He got hit once. Granted, it was a little bit later, but they tried to run the ball. They couldn't do it. They tried to do what they wanted to do. They couldn't do it. Herbert made one good throw, and it was off of his front foot because he couldn't plant off his back. And the second that they started to get to him, because the pressure is going to start to surmount in the third quarter, he's now in question this week against Kansas City. And call it what you want to call it, you want to win your division games a lot more than you want to go to Pittsburgh and win week 2. So I don't know. I don't know what. Would you run your quarterback out there with a high ankle sprain in week 2?
No. Not when I think I have a playoff team.
Yeah. And I think Herbert, that they do.
Yeah, and I think Justin Herbert in November and December is a whole lot more important than he is right now in September. I think any quarterback is.
Yeah.
If I think I have a team that can push for a playoff spot, I think my quarterback sits. That being said, I was like, well, they only have 18 games. Every game matters. I understand that. But, like, you also just paid this guy almost $60 million.
Yeah.
Is this team, was it ever even considered? Like, I know in outside or in the house, everybody wants to say, like, anything can happen in a given year. But, like, realistically, did anybody, even Harbaugh, look at this roster and say this was a competitive year for us?
Well, you know what? The O-line's pretty good. And I think that their defense...
Well, Alt just got injured, too.
Yeah, their defense... Well, Alt got injured because he got the TJ Watt effect.
Yeah.
So that guy starts to put you onto the turnstile and you're in trouble. But Alt played well, like, overall. And I think that people looked at San Diego or LA Chargers the same way that they looked at Pittsburgh, which was, oh, there's talent on defense. Oh, the O-line, we'll see. They need to be able to run the ball. Clearly, Herbert would be put on a pedestal above Fields. But they looked at the receivers and they're like, well, Chargers don't have any receivers. They're going to suck. Oh, Steelers need a receiver or they're going to suck. Like, it's just not the game that they're playing. And it's like you got to witness the offense that both of these two teams are playing right now with Tennessee. And I would say if Marcus Mariota got Tennessee to the playoffs and beat the Patriots, I think that a Justin Herbert
Who was the Chiefs?
Was it? I thought it was
Tannehill took out the Patriots and ended the dynasty.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well,
the Chiefs was like the Frozen where he threw the ball and it batted back on him. He caught it on the way in.
I was picturing the Patriots, but yeah, like if those two guys can do it, then it doesn't matter. Like if you look at the Chargers roster realistically, it's not bad. I mean, I didn't know that until we played them, but I'll be honest. Like,
yeah,
on paper it didn't look good, and then you look at the Steelers' offense. There's not a whole lot to be desired, except for the fact that they're efficient and they don't turn the ball over. And
don't you downplay your offense that you hype up. Pat Freiermuth, you've been talking about him since you could.
I'm still happy with the offensive guys, but I'm saying the defense is giving up 8 points a game. I think we're going to win some games. If your defense only gives up 8 points, you're fine.
Do you think 11 wins is on the table for the Steelers?
Right now, I would say 10 makes sense. 11 would be good, but I think 10 is all they need to get in. But if you're 3-0 right now, you basically need to go 500 or one game above 500 to get to 11. I don't think that's out of the question. You got Cleveland twice, you got Cincinnati twice, Baltimore twice. Typically,
you go 4-2 in those games.
Yeah, typically, if you're going to split with your division, you're right there, and they got Washington. They got Dallas. They got the Giants.
So you got an easy NFC schedule.
Yeah, it's not a tough schedule. I mean, they got to get by the Colts this week, but I did tell you before the season started that if they play top 5 defense and they have a top 10 run game, which they don't yet, then the quarterback just doesn't have to turn the ball over. The Steelers have 1 turnover in 3 games. I think that's quality football.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not liking Justin Fields. He actually looked good. I was very surprised.
He looked a lot better this week. He looked a little more comfortable this week than the last 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
I think now he realizes his job's not on the line.
Absolutely.
There's a big difference, and you play a lot different.
And that's what it's going to come down to is, you start the season 3-0, you win a game in front of the Pittsburgh crowd, and you play to a point where he actually threw for 245 yards.
Yeah, I noticed I just looked it up. He threw the ball 32 times.
Yeah.
Which I never thought was going to be a recipe for the Steelers to win a football game this year. But he did it efficiently.
They had -5 rushing yards at half. And they stuck with it. Actually, Cordero Patterson had a few big chunk plays in the fourth quarter, but Najee Harris picked it up at the end, and they said Fields, like what you're saying, he's comfortable. He was very comfortable in the third and fourth quarter. He made throws. He made a throw that I would call ill-advised that turned into a 55-yard touchdown. But when you go from
So knock 50 yards off that 200 that Shane doesn't approve of there. So 195.
That's fine. And 195 is where I wanted to be anyway. But if they're going to continue to play the way that they're playing and you give up that, then whatever. Like, the Steelers are 10-1 in their last 11 games, scoring more than 17 points. That means that you're playing defense.
Well, at least someone's defense showed up this week, because I know my team did not.
Yeah. You guys got smacked in the mouth before it was even before you even realized you're in a game.
Like, I just started laughing because I didn't know what else I could do.
Yeah.
Like, I've been a part of games like where like the whole like quicksand happens, like where one thing goes wrong, the next one goes wrong, and next thing you know, you're down by 21 points. But the way that it happened this time is we just couldn't get the ball. Like, it wasn't turnovers, it was nothing.
Yeah.
It was literally just we could not get a first down.
It's just Bo Nix coming out party-ish.
Yeah. Well, like, and like, Sean Payne's always had the Bucs number since he's been there. But I could not believe the way that Bo Nix, he looked like a seasoned veteran out there. And Courtland Sutton had a day. I didn't know if that guy was going to play football ever again after this year. He got paid, but he done nothing the first 2 weeks. And then he showed up this week, and we got slapped.
Yeah, but the Broncos offense was going to get one right. I still don't believe in Sean Payton. I mean, I think that Bo Nix will be fine in the NFL, especially after like what we saw. He doesn't. It would be very easy for him to pack it in, but last year we were probably thinking the same thing about, and that didn't work out quite as well so far. So jury's still out on him. But how about your? I was going to say boyfriend, but that's probably rude. How about your guy in Chicago there?
Caleb?
Yeah.
Were you still knocking on him?
Am I still knocking? Did you see the 2-point conversions where he attempted it from the 25-yard line because he was running for his life?
Yeah, he does tend to do that a lot, unfortunately. I'm still not. I'm bought in after seeing what Peyton went through in his rookie season and seeing again. It comes down to I haven't seen a schemed open wide receiver in Chicago all season.
Okay, they have some of the best receiving talent in the league, and
they're never open. It seems like all the plays that they want to run over in Chicago is shit button hooks over the middle, a mesh concept, a dagger concept. That's pretty much the same two concepts they've been running for 4 years. They did it with Justin Fields. They ran the dagger, and if the dagger wasn't there, take off Justin.
You can't split Arthur Smith into 32 pieces so he can OC every team, okay?
Yeah, preach. Tell me about it. But
I actually really like his offense, but yeah, go ahead.
I did too. It worked really well. It was the year that Tanny went like 40 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. But I have not seen anybody open in Chicago since the season started, unfortunately. Yep. I'm not going to say that there's not blame to fall on Caleb Williams.
Because he hasn't ever stepped into the pocket.
That's my only knock. His arm talent is through the roof. I will not knock that.
But that being said, that
he keeps turning his back to the line, and you're going to put yourself in trouble.
Well, the back to the line thing, yeah, okay, that's fine. But you have to remember, how did he play in college? Every successful play that guy had that's a highlight reel play is him moving out of the pocket. The difference is he's playing against men with family now. Like, they got to put food on the table.
Professionals.
Like, yeah. Highlight reel throws are cool and fun and all, but that's not an every down thing, and you can't. When defensive ends are as fast as receivers, that shit doesn't fly. You have to learn to stay in the pocket or build a scheme that rolls the pocket so that poor guy doesn't fucking die.
Their interior line is horrendous right now.
At the rate they're going, that guy ain't making it to a second contract.
No, I know. Right. But that's the problem right now is that their interior line is getting jacked the fuck up every play. And then he has no option but to roll out and right into the backer's arms or right into that blitzing corner's arms.
It comes down to the same thing that we talked about there is more bad coaches in the league than bad quarterbacks, and we never said that Caleb was going to be a bad quarterback. We just said it wasn't worth moving on from Justin Fields. And
if you're not going to scheme it different, you're just saying it's got the exact same failure.
Yeah. the offense, the way that Arthur Smith is using Justin Fields, if Chicago had done that, they would have made the playoffs last year. We wouldn't even be having this conversation. But they decided to try and make Justin Fields into Peyton Manning. That's not going to work. You try to make Caleb Williams into Tom Brady. That's not going to work. Like, you have to utilize the skill set. And if this guy is uncomfortable, I was going to say scared, if he's uncomfortable staying in the pocket, you have to have moving lines. You have to be able to just boot it out. And maybe that's how you scheme open somebody. Not just have this guy sit there and throw balls in the air and get picked off 10 times.
I agree. You got to get away from the mesh and the dagger, man. Basically,
Those are slow, routes.
Yeah.
You need. Everybody always laughs about like Tom Brady threw slants out and seams. Do you know why he never got sacked? The ball was out of his hands in 2 seconds.
Right.
Quick routes. They used the pass game as the run game. Got the ball out. Let athletes make plays. If you're gonna run this I'm gonna say Kansas City style offense, which takes a long time to go. If you look at Kansas City's offensive line, they're one of the best in the league.
Right.
When it comes to pass blocking. You can do those slow release routes that you can go all the way across the field, and I get what they're doing because you have the weapons to do it. But Keenan Allen's slow as fuck. He was slow as fuck when he was in his 20s.
Yeah.
And now he's injured, so you don't even have that.
Yeah. Roma Dunze is a great receiver, but he requires a little bit of space. The Bears' offense isn't available to give him space right now, and DJ Moore, I think DJ Moore is a top 10 receiver, but same thing. If your quarterback can't hold the ball or can't stay looking your direction, then what good is it?
I'm going to get you to list your 10 at the end of the show.
Okay.
Because I don't know how DJ Moore lands on there.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah, no, I think it said Caleb's ceiling is through the roof. I won't go that. And I used to make fun of you last year because I said Notre Dame made him look mediocre. Then the whole NCAA took the script from that and they kind of made him look pedestrian at times.
Now the NFL is looking after it too.
But now the NFL, you're playing a top defense in college every single week when you get to the NFL. Quarterbacks say this all the time. You're playing Alabama and Georgia every single week.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, the Bears should be 0-3 right now. They're not because of unforeseen circumstances. It doesn't mean that he's going to have a shitty career. It just doesn't make him the phenom because he was a phenom because he could make those plays in college. You're never going to make those plays in the NFL.
Do you know who's a phenom in college? Johnny Manziel and Tim Tebow.
Correct.
And I think he's significantly more talented than both those two guys.
Correct.
But if you play that style and that's all you can do, it's going to end really fast for the NFL.
Now, the best that could happen to him is maybe they have a coaching change, or
they need
at
to
least
bring
an offensive coordinator.
Is to get an offensive-minded coach in there that can really help him out.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, Josh Allen was shit for the first 2 years of his season career too, and certainly turned it on once they started letting him play loose like he just did right there.
Yeah, a nice run up the middle because he has the ability to do those things. The best thing that the Bills did was bring in that Joe Brady guy because he actually doesn't mind running the ball. But, Josh Allen wasn't Josh Allen his first 2 years, you're right. But he also wasn't what Caleb Williams is doing right now. He wasn't running backwards. He was running towards plays and trying to get these things. And the Bills go ahead and get a touchdown there. But we should give a little bit of props to a team like Minnesota, who found a quarterback in Sam Darnold. They drafted a quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, who, I didn't think he was very good in college, but he got hurt, so TBD. And they've now beaten the 49ers and the Texans, who are a lot of people's Super Bowl favorites in consecutive weeks. So should we be taking Minnesota more seriously?
I think so. Kevin O'Connell did it with Kirk Cousins. He made him look really good.
Yep.
Now he's doing it with Sam Darnold. Almost like what we just talked about in Chicago, how you're putting your quarterback in a situation to fail. He's putting his guys in a situation to win. Yeah. Sam Darnold's been kicked and run out of every city he's been to. And if he plays at the rate he's playing at, I'm not going to say he's an MVP because we already know he's not getting it. But he could be comeback player of the year if he plays the road that he's doing.
I agree.
Belichick said today that the only team that he's heard ever didn't actually like Darnold was New York. Every place he's ever been to, that team that he's been on, that team has liked him, Enjoyed him being around the locker room, what he brought to the huddle, and everything. But New York was the only team that Belichick ever heard anything negative about him coming out of. So,
Well, yeah, New York's its own little dumpster.
who was the
fire.
OC or the head coach when he was drafted there? Was it Adam Gase?
That sounds right.
Be about that time.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. That guy didn't like anybody.
Well, when you look at what Minnesota's been able to do, a resurgence of Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, but even with Addison out, they went and found Jalen Naylor, who's been on their roster for about 3 years now, former Spartan dog, in case you're wondering, and that guy has only scored 3 touchdowns in 3 games, and they continue to find ways to, your favorite thing, scheme the receivers open, and if you can scheme a receiver open, you're an NFL quarterback. You got to put it on. Wow, you're just having a tough time with all this. You hate the NFL.
No. It's. I don't want you to take out of context what I'm trying to say. Where I say a line and then you try to apply it to everything and make fun of me. What I'm trying to say is, if your receivers are not quick enough,
Do you need to lay on the couch
good
and
enough,
talk about your problems?
you have to be schemed open. And that's why when you mention, like, Rome is a rookie wide receiver, that you're going to be hit and miss with those guys for the first 2 to 3 years of their career before you find out what you got.
With the exception of the guy I told you that was the number 1 receiver in the draft, right?
Who's that?
We'll get to him.
Malik Neighbors.
If you're telling me Malik Neighbors isn't the best receiver in that draft, you're crazy, bro.
Because Malik had one good week here? Like, what has Marvin Harrison done this whole season, too? Last week, I think he had like 8 catches or something like that for like 100 and some odd yards. And I had probably my favorite soundbite of last week was when they said, what did you think of the stat line? And he said, I looked at it and I saw that Kyler had like 4 incompletions and 3 of them were to me, so I got to do a better job. I loved hearing that. But, like, it's not like exactly like Marvin Harrison has been balling out, too.
Again, nobody said Marvin Harrison was going to be a bad receiver. What I said was he wasn't the top receiver, and he still isn't. Malik Neighbors is the top receiver from the rookie class, and everybody else is lucky to be playing for second. Have you seen some of the catches the guy's making? Did you see his second touchdown on Sunday?
So, yeah, it makes great catches. It's fantastic that he's able to pull a rabbit out of a hat for Daniel Jones. Yeah, to when Daniel's putting bad throws on him. But, like, that's the thing. I'm not going to knock Marvin Harrison Jr. because he has a quarterback that can put the ball in the proper spot, that he doesn't have to go and make a miraculous catch over somebody's head.
I don't know why it would be a knock on him. I'm just telling you, you thought Marvin Harrison.
But you were saying, have you saw some of the catches, and you were insinuating that is what makes him the better receiver. Well, and I'm saying we haven't had the opportunity to see Marvin Harrison do that.
Statistically, too. You could look at it. I think you should.
I just did.
Yeah. It's big. Because the Giants are getting no coverage, you don't realize how many yards this guy actually has.
271.
23 catches for 270 and 2 touchdowns.
I think that's pretty good for a rookie, don't you think?
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison has 10 catches on 22 targets.
10 catches on 22 targets.
Yeah. 198, 3 touchdowns too.
Okay. So basically what you just said is I was right.
No.
Because he has better stats. That's what you just said, though.
That's not what I'm... No, I did not say that. I said that you are insinuating that his catches...
got better stats and better catches, but he's not better.
He's got highlight catches.
And a worse quarterback.
Yeah, they're always from behind.
Okay, fair enough. I'm glad we play in the same fantasy leagues together, by the way. Makes my life a lot easier.
I'm winning right now. What do you mean? You beat me last week
I did,
on a
right.
prayer. But
Hey.
I would be 3-0 right now if it wasn't for that.
What's wrong with praying? What's wrong with praying? How about the 49ers? Because the 49ers are getting themselves into some trouble. Lots of injuries are starting to mount up. And they blew a 10-point fourth quarter lead to the Rams, who really had no business even being in that game.
Have we seen a good team? Like, the Niners are good every year, but that team is injury-riddled every year. And it's not just depth players. Like, it's always, like, big-name guys that get hurt somewhere down the line.
Mike Tomlin says preseason and training camp, if you're not willing to get in the ring and spar, you're not boxing on my team. The 49ers do not play their guys in the preseason, and the teams that typically don't play their guys in the preseason are more likely to cause injuries early on. The Rams were the exact same thing.
Yeah, I think it was just this week that, like, Rodney Harrison or somebody that had said that his reasoning for all the injuries that we see anymore is because there's no padded practices.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just get used to getting these hits. Yeah, you can run fast, but what good is running fast if you don't realize what it's like to run when there's bodies around you? You know, like it does make a difference. It sounds stupid, but it does make a difference. As your boy Trevor Lawrence just went 3-0.
So that's not my boy.
Are you ready to give Anthony Richards any props? Because
For what?
he beat Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I saw that. And there was one play, I don't know if you saw Emmanuel Ocho. He tweeted out, this is the Anthony Richardson experience, and that's him. At one point, he throws the ball 45 yards down to Alec
He was awful.
Pierce. And then
I watched it. He was awful.
and then he floated that little 2-yard interception,
Yeah,
right?
I saw it.
All you had to do, again, you know, I've said it since he was in college, just like he never played. He's coming up, like I think I said to you this earlier, he plays every game this season. He's played double the amount of football he's played since high school.
Yeah.
That's crazy for a starting quarterback in the NFL that was drafted that high. It's boom or bust.
Yep.
My buddy's a Colts fan. This is what I make fun of. We always go back and forth, obviously, jiving. And I said, you literally live by the boom or bust with Anthony Richardson. You're never going to get a mediocre play. It's either he's going to run the ball for 45 yards.
He's going to be on SportsCenter either way or the other.
Yeah, one way or the other, exactly. But I also don't think that, like, Anthony's not the guy that takes you to the next level. Like, I really don't envision as him being the guy that carries the Colts over the hump.
That's cool. That just sounds like the Steelers are going 4-0. We got the Colts next.
Is there any football player in the league that you like right now? You've been very negative right now. Is this what happens when you're 0-3?
No, man, I've chirped AR since, like, he came. We all made fun of AR.
I didn't say you haven't. I'm just saying you haven't said one good thing about one player yet.
You got a lot of hatred.
I just talked about Marvin Harrison Jr. being awesome.
As you were dunking on Malik Neighbors.
I wasn't dunking. I was just saying that I still think the generation. And Joe Alt, I brought up his great play earlier, and unfortunately he's injured. But
yeah, he got turnstiled.
Yeah,
but he did have a good game.
I still stand by my statement. There was 3 generational talents in that draft, and that's why there's no generational talents in this one upcoming.
So your generational talents were
Joe Alt, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Caleb Williams.
I mean, if it was baseball, you'd be in the Hall of Fame because 1 out of 3 ain't bad. I'll even let you pick which one it is, but we all know it's Joel. Calm down. All right. We got about 10 more minutes here. We probably got to talk a little bit about the New Orleans Saints. Their offense basically went, 12 consecutive scoring series.
And then they played Philly and went stalemate.
Yeah, and
you also know they lead the league. This might be a really interesting stat. They lead the league in the fewest 3 wide receiver sets, and not by a small margin. Coming into week 3, they were 13% of their plays were 3 wide receiver sets or more. 3 wide or more. That's crazy. When you talk about today's NFL, everybody's playing with 3 wide receiver sets. So I don't know what they're doing down there.
I was going to say, what are they running? Like extra running backs or the extra tight ends?
Tight ends, yeah. Tight ends, and was also that weird wishbone concept they were trying to run last night
strategy
in Atlanta. I want to make fun of Nick for that one.
Gronk and the guy we're not allowed to talk about. Say his name, you get canceled. So
yeah. Well, I mean that wishbone touchdown for Robinson, I thought was a decent play, but they might have ran it a little bit too much.
Then to go back to it, go back to the well, eh?
But if we reassess the NFC South, I think that the Bucs are probably who we thought they were. Like, they're pretty good. They schemed up a good plan against Detroit.
In a trap game. It was.
You lay an egg, like, it's exactly right. Like, you go and beat a Super Bowl contender.
On the road.
Yeah, and then you have a rookie come to your barn that was your home opener?
Yeah.
So, I can't say that I watched a ton of the game. Every time I looked up, it seemed like Broncos had the ball in the red zone, and it was still only like 24-7. So, the defense in Tampa, I think, is good enough to make them competitive in the division. But I do think that after watching Atlanta for 3 weeks, that they are ultimately going to win that division. I think that Kirk Cousins is getting better. The defense is getting stronger together, and they've actually found a way to use Drake London. Bijan is, I don't know, one of the most explosive, if not the most explosive running back in the league right now. Kyle Pitts, if they can figure out a way to use him.
They're trying.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney and Ray McLeod are somehow making it so that those guys can't get doubled up, or if they do get doubled up, they're making plays too. I think that they're going to be dangerous. Like, they're at 1-2 right now because, whether Kirk Cousins wasn't ready week 1 or the Steelers defense actually did just shut them down. That big drive in Philly to go down there and win that game. I think that they could have done the same thing yesterday and just as easily could have been 2-1 if it wasn't for a ref deciding that Taylor Swift being at the Super Bowl was more important than football integrity.
I agree.
Oh, we finally agree on one.
That was a horrible call.
No, I think Atlanta's a team to beat in that division. I said it before the season even started. I said that.
Nick, stop listening.
Yeah, no, he's probably so hard right now to hear me say that.
Well, overall, they do have that roster that can make a playoff run.
I still believe in the Saints.
I'm not giving up on the Saints.
Those teams are going to, when they come together.
Teams in that division could make a playoff, realistically.
Yeah. Look up and down. If you look at the AFC West, I mean, you're thinking there's probably 2, but that's
Who?
In the West?
Yeah.
Seattle and...
That's the NFC. You said AFC. That's what I was like, who the hell is the AFC West?
Oh, no.
Okay, yeah. Maybe 2. You're talking about LA and...
No, you'd be looking
Seattle?
at the 49ers in Seattle, I think. I think that the Rams are a cute little story, but I don't see them doing much more after that. And Arizona, I think, is going to be the team that flashes 1 week and then loses 3 in a row. And ultimately, that's where they're going to be. So when you look at the NFC playoffs, that does make sense to me. I think that there could be 3 teams coming out of the South.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's going to be. I'm saying there could be.
Yeah.
Because I think Tampa wins 10 games. But I think Atlanta could win 10 or 11. And the Saints are right there.
Yeah. Well,
all 3 of those teams could be really 3-0.
And you were talking bad about the AFC West. Everybody puts the Chiefs in because that's automatic. You don't think that the Chargers have any chance? Number one rush team in the league.
I think it's great for you to kill the clock out in order for you guys to be scored on in the final seconds. I just don't think that is a team that is built to win a lot of games in today's NFL, especially when your quarterback right now has a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
And those take a long time to heal, and they quickly re-aggravate.
So today's NFL, you mean where passing yards are at a premium because passing yards
are at an all-time low right now, man.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a 15-year low right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's because teams are starting to run the ball. It's because defenses are in the age of 2 high safeties, and there's not.
Easy, Mel Kiper. Easy, Mel.
You don't think there's a lot of 2 high safeties going on right
now?
No,
it is. Do you think that?
You didn't hear what Mel Kiper said the other day? He said that
I don't listen to that guy.
He said the 2 high safety is ruining football. Is what he said, and it needs to be eliminated, and the safeties need to be brought. The maximum they should be allowed from the line of scrimmage was 10 yards.
He wants them in the box.
Yeah, he wants box safeties.
He wants 7 linebackers on the field only.
Yeah, and then I don't know who it was, but some coach or some guy ripped him pretty hard. It might have been Dan Orlovsky or something like that.
Well, because that's embarrassing.
No, Dan Orlovsky agreed with him.
Oh, did he?
It was Coach. Remember Last Chance U?
That's who it was. Yeah, that's who I went off hard on him. Yeah,
JB Brown.
Well, that is an embarrassing comment, though.
Yeah. But I also think that the league is a catch-up league, and I think that a lot of teams went all in on athletic wide receivers, and then what we've seen over the last 5 to 8 years, or 7 years, I should say, is athletic corners and safeties.
Yep.
And the introduction of what I've commonly referred to as the money backer. That shit wasn't really a thing until, and the first guy that I can seriously hear being called that routinely over and over again was that guy in Arizona who's not even there anymore.
Yeah, he's in New York now.
Yeah. Can't remember what his name is.
Simmons.
Simmons, that's right.
We watched that championship game. We're like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I remember watching that. When that guy was at Clemson, we're like, what the fuck is this thing on the field right now?
And yeah, so he was the first money backer, but every team's got a money backer now. Whether it be a big box safety coming down or whether it be that nickel corner who's just a little bit big and lanky.
Let's dive deeper into that. What did colleges start doing? Taking receivers and making them DBs. If you're a physical receiver and you might not crack my roster, we're going to put you at DB. Now all DBs have hands.
Yep.
And these guys actually already understand coverages and offensive schemes, because I'm going to break to you, football's not that difficult.
Right.
There's only so many pass concepts And if you played receiver your whole life, it's easier to adapt to them when you're catching from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's literally, I don't know, 10 to 15 concepts and that are just tweaked on every offense.
Yeah.
Offense is a copycat game. This team's doing it. How can we do it by making our own? Okay, we'll change one thing in it. That's it.
I agree with the copycat thing, and what I think is happening right now, and this is, you're going to have to help me get through this because it's going to be tough. I think a lot of teams are watching what happened in college football over the last 2 years, and that was an absolutely disgusting Michigan run game that controlled the clock, played strong defense, and ultimately beat everybody by just out-physicaling them in the fourth quarter. If you look at some of the teams that are having some success right now, those are the teams that are following that same mantra. The Chargers are doing that naturally because it's Harbaugh. The Steelers are doing something similar to that, but with an Arthur Smith kind of twist to it.
Well, Arthur Smith had he runs the ball.
Yeah. He runs the ball, but
and Bijan was like,
it's also not just that, right? Like lots of motions to kind of like get your linebackers moving. It's the difference between 2 yards up the middle and 4 yards up the middle. Makes a difference when you stay on schedule. And when you stay on schedule, your offense is more efficient. When your offense is more efficient, you control the ball, you control the clock. You control the clock, you probably win. Like, it's simplifying the game because of those things.
Jesus, you're sounding like Mike Vrabel.
Well, I think that's literally what's happening right now. Is it doesn't mean that it's always going to be like that, but teams are going to start running the ball. Like, look what Baltimore just did to Dallas. No, you look at what the Patriots did to Cincinnati. Like, that Cincinnati team tried to run every single one of their plays at a shotgun, and the Patriots are like, okay, you guys can do that.
Is it safe to say we're going to make fullbacks great again?
That would be nice. I don't. Yeah, you're right. I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be a lot more.
A lot of tight ends.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of tight ends and hybrids.
Yeah, like right now, and I don't have every roster studied, but right now in Pittsburgh they have 5 active tight ends on their roster.
That's what Tennessee has too.
Yeah.
They're not active. They always have 3 active, but 5 on the roster. Fucking
and
crazy.
That's a Dalton Kincaid touchdown, and that's Money in my bank. Because they had him at like plus 360 or something. Couldn't help it.
I want to talk about that play for a second. And
Yeah.
this is not me taking a shot at Caleb Williams, I promise. But watch what happened when his pocket collapsed. His eyes and body never left going forward. That's literally the difference. If he turns his back, that play's over. You can't do that with the ends in this league. And Josh Allen learned the hard way for the first 2 years. He made a lot of mistakes.
Josh Allen's got a little bit of a bigger build too. He could take the hit, just like your boy in Tennessee could take a hit, and has taken some hits. It's the one thing that you probably don't have to worry about with him is getting injured because of like a soft tissue injury, because that guy's a unit. I mean, overall, I don't know if there's any other takes from the weekend, or if you want to spend a couple minutes talking about college, or if we can just get out of here. Go give away this Josh Allen jersey.
Well, this weekend is it's Alabama and Georgia, right?
That's a big one. Yeah.
It's and then the third. I don't know if you guys have been looking forward, but like.
So when
October 12th, there's a massive...
Baby, Texas plays Georgia and Alabama plays Tennessee that week, I think.
There's like a primetime game at every time slot on the 12th of October.
When was the last time Georgia and Alabama played, and neither one of them was the top team in the SEC?
Or the league.
Well, just like the SEC more importantly. But naturally, like one of them is typically like 1-2 here.
Well, usually he was number 1 in the SEC, number 1 in the country, but yeah.
That's it, yeah.
But like you look at that and you think Texas, and then maybe depending on how the season shakes out, I would like to put Tennessee above Georgia, and then Georgia, then Alabama, and then you still got teams like Ole Miss. Like that conference is wild.
So I'm gonna ask you a question because I already know how you feel about this character. I shouldn't call it character. That's not very nice to say. A report came out, and I was by a college football insider. I don't remember his name. I'm not going to try to make it up. He said that if Carson Beck played for Colorado and Shador played for Georgia, Georgia would still be the number 1 team in the country, but Colorado wouldn't be nowhere near as good as what they are.
I don't know if that's true. I think Carson Beck's going to be the first overall pick, isn't he?
So, like,
I'm not challenging this. I just want to hear, like, because, like, it was a pretty, like, that's a pretty hot take.
Colorado
think
just
that's
got a win off of a Hail Mary throw that was like not perfectly thrown. It was just caught, perfectly caught. You know what I mean? Like,
But like, I think this is what I'm taking this. Is that a bigger shot at Carson Beck, or more of like a saying that Shedeur is that good? 'Cause I think it's more of a shot at Carson Beck.
I agree, and I don't think that Carson Beck is a bad. Like I said, I do think that he right now. I mean, who knows? Because you got to go through the testing. But right now, you would probably say he's the first overall pick. Shedeur, for some reason, falling in the top 5. But it seems like Travis Hunter, and I'm not disagreeing with it, is actually the higher ranked Colorado player. And yeah, I mean, would Shedeur Sanders make it? It's gonna sound. Would he make it on a team that his dad's not the coach? Would he be able to act the way that he does on the field anyway? I'm sure he's a good kid in the locker room. I'm sure he does all the right things in the locker room. But like the way that they,
I disagree with that. Like, part of doing things, I know it wasn't the locker room where it happened, but like that quarterback exchange last week when he wants to talk his shit. I know that the Colorado State talked their shit in the offseason, and even that quarterback was a little mouthy throughout the game. But like, bro, you won the game. The guy came up to you to shake hands, and you want to act like that? Like, that's a locker room cancer to me. And I'm
going to tell you now, I wouldn't shake his hand either. So
yeah, but that tells you all you need to know, Chad.
Like, I don't know. I have this whole thing about my quarterback. He has to have a certain level of piece of shit to him. I'm not saying that Shedeur should be getting a hall pass on some of the things that he's done, but if a guy's going at your team and taking shots at you, to go shake his hand after you beat them, like, no, I'm riding with my boys. Like, fuck that.
Yeah, your boy Baker shook every Texas's quarterback's
that guy also
hands.
grabbed his dick at fucking Kansas, so.
Yeah.
But like, he shook
Want to know
hands.
why? Because they didn't shake his hand. So what he said,
yeah,
suck on my nuts. And
jeez, haven't you been drinking Pepsi today? What? Where's this guy coming?
But yeah, like, there's a certain level of piece of shit that I want my quarterback to be, and I want him to. When that stuff happens, no, you don't have to take the high road. You don't.
Well,
because like, he's not getting in trouble. He's not breaking the law. He's not going out drinking. He doesn't shake a guy's hand.
He's the highest paid NIL player in the league.
Yeah.
And look, like, to that, like, back.
Do you
to
believe
that
him that his comment after the game about how Daddy didn't set up no trust fund for him? No. Did you hear that comment?
I did not believe that for a second.
Yeah, I don't believe that, because he said something to the effect of like, "What would you be doing if football was?" And he was like, "I'd be working." Like, it's like, Daddy didn't set up no trust fund for me. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, not that you know of, because you're good. Yeah, he put another wing on the house after he watched you throw a football around.
I'm just sick of people calling him accurate, especially after that Hail Mary throw. When you're accurate and you fit it in a window that's 10 to 15 yards in front of you, that's accurate. Throwing a ball up and praying and hoping the player comes down with it. If you do it 8 times in your career like Aaron Rodgers does, that's one thing.
It's called a Hail Mary for a reason. Like, it's literally a hope and a prayer.
Yeah.
Jacked up there, Trev.
Yeah, I think they stopped him there. Yeah, go ahead.
But like I said, I think like that whole comment was a bigger shot at Carson Beck. All that guy's done is win.
Yeah, and like I said,
the most boring winner in the whole
but that's okay.
thing, though, right?
Yeah, that's
like, I mean, we could say that, though, right? He is the most boring winner there is.
Yeah,
I don't think he has to be flashy, though. Like, J.J. McCarthy won a national championship with undefeated, and that guy might have been the most boring quarterback I've ever watched play. But he was perfect for that Michigan team.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, when you look at like Carson Beck, like, this isn't like Jake Fromm. You know, like, this guy is actually like a legitimate quarterback, and I would say that, if Carson Beck was on Colorado, it's because he made the wrong choice in recruiting and went to a team that has no O-line. That's, he just happened to be recruited by a team that has a great O-line. He's got some time, he can make the throws, but he doesn't need that. He's a pocket quarterback, and he'll get it done. But yeah, I mean, like, the kid from Tennessee is turning heads,
Nico.
But the kid from Nebraska is really going to be turning heads.
Wow, he had a blown play during that game.
He's 18 years old.
Both those two guys are 18 years old.
Yeah.
Like, Nico came out of high school early.
Yeah.
So he could play in a game last year.
And that's the thing, is like, those guys are going to be good for their teams for the next 3 years, 4 years. I did like what Arch's family came out and said, that they want him to be a 4-year player. He's clearly not in any rush to get to the NFL. I think that if after his third year the right opportunity was sitting there at the first overall pick, he would declare and then go back in the summer and finish his degree.
I don't think he does. I think he stays all 4 years.
I think that this family, since they've committed, have been steadfast.
The big thing is he chose to play for a coach. That's what it was.
Yeah.
He wanted to play for Sark, and realistically, I don't know if anybody's put more first-round quarterbacks in the NFL the last 15 years than that guy. So, like, it was the right choice to go play for him. You're going to win a national championship. He's going to make $5 million in NIL money anyways. He'll probably make more money his first year in the NIL than he will go into the NFL.
Right. Well, okay, look at it like this. Who's a team with an older quarterback? That's pretty good.
Pardon me?
I'm just trying to think, like, who's a good team?
The Jets.
Yeah, it's a bad situation.
Would you go there? No, I wouldn't.
It's a bad situation, bad franchise. Like
we haven't seen anything truly out of Hendon Hooker yet, so who knows where Detroit is in a couple of years.
Yeah, okay, so Detroit, that's a good example. Like, if Detroit is the first overall pick because Jared Goff got a knee injury and they had just
Stafford, Rams, there's another
terrible year, and you had the ability to go there, and Ben Johnson still has to be there, of course, but you have the ability to go there. I think that you get onto that roster, but you're like Chad's right. Like, it's not for money. I was just thinking for situation. Like, Eli didn't want to be in San Diego.
But we also have another quarterback, Sanders, and what his dad is going to do during the draft. Like, I think there's going to be a recent sour taste in some teams' mouths when Dion says, "You're not drafting my son." It was like, since that Eli thing happened, it's never happened again.
Yeah.
Right?
It was him and John Welwood were the only two guys that have ever came out and said, like, I'm not playing.
Yeah, and it wasn't even Eli. It was his dad and his dad and the representation. I think it was never like it was his dad thought that the organization was shit. Didn't want to play there. Right? He's not wrong at all. But it hasn't happened since then. It's been a long time. I don't anticipate that Dion will drive his son to a team, and then a couple years later we're going to see Arch get driven to a team by his family too. I just think it's take me where you want to take me. I'm a loyal guy, loyal kid.
Well, we'll have to see how that one plays out. Why don't we go watch some Bills Jags here? I'll give away this Josh Allen jersey. Everybody watch out for, what are we now, week 5 of college football?
Yeah.
And then week 4 of the NFL coming up. We're going to be back here. I think there's 2 more games next week, but we're going to be back here. Who knows what jersey we're giving away. Make sure that you check us out. We're going to make sure that you got all the deals down here at Clubhouse, all the interactions.
The weather is starting to turn. You need to find a place inside to hang out, swing a club, throw a ball around, right? This is the place to do it.
They got bocce here. They got cornhole. They got everything. TVs everywhere. Come check it out.
It's licensed.
Yeah.
That's the most important part.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's a lot of simulators. They ain't licensed.
Yeah, you can get yourself a bevy here.
Yeah.
But yeah, come check it out, and we're gonna go be 4-0 as the Steelers. We'll see what happens to Will Levis.
Billy Jeans.
See everyone next week.